Okay, so I finished cutting out my side strips. So I decided to do all my side pieces, my side walls, I guess I'm calling them, at once. And I went ahead and labeled them. So I was just working off of my one letter, and I did all my scoring, my curving and all that. And then I labeled them that this is, like the bottom left piece, and so I know that this one goes kind of here, and this is the right side, which is the one over here. So I labeled them, I did them all at once. You could do it piece by piece if you want, while you're waiting for glue to dry and things like that. So I'm going to show you how to do this with the materials I gave you, which isn't the easiest way to do it, but it's definitely doable. So I'm going to need my tape, I'm going to need my scissors, and I'm going to need some of my glue. And I'm suggesting that you cut yourself a few pieces of tape to start. And I'm going to just set my pieces on the edge of my table. It will be what I use to hold my walls in place until the glue dries, because this glue actually takes quite a while to dry. So it'll dry strong, so you want to make sure it's in the place you want it before you move on. All right, so I think I will start with just an easier wall, which is a single wall. And by the way, if you're using the glue and the tape kind of method, these bended walls could start to give you a little trouble, maybe. So you'll do some trial and error and see what works for you. So I think I'll start on this part right here, which is my right underside one, and I even just drew the letter M and pointed to where it goes. And that one goes right in here. So here's what I would suggest that you do. If you're using the glue that I gave you, I would go ahead, and put, this doesn't look like it's mixed very well from shipping. You might need to shake it. Just shake it a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna shake mine up a little. Shouldn't be quite that watery. Well, it is for now. So I'm gonna put a little bead of glue down, and then I'm going to set my piece on top. And this glue will dry pretty clear, so it doesn't matter if it's a little goopy. But remember, craftsmanship is that neatness and the attention to detail, and so we do want to be thinking about that as you glue things down. So what I suggest is that you go ahead and line this all up, glue it down. I noticed I don't have any glue over here, so I'm going to definitely need some in the corner there. There's the real glue. Just my first time using it. And what I want to do is just set it right on there, making sure my corner lines up as well as all my edges. And because this glue takes a little time to dry, I actually have a little more chance to make things look, perfect. And then what I suggest you do is you take your pieces of tape that you already have, that you've already cut, and you can place those pieces of tape on the inside. You could do it on the outside too, but I just think the inside's easier. And that tape is going to help hold my piece in place while it's drying. So those of us using all the stuff from the kit can totally be done. It'll just take a little longer, but I'm doing it. You could do it too, although I did cheat and use the X-Acto knife for my demo. Okay, so you can see I've got this on there, and there's this little funky spot right here, which I'll probably go off and trim with I'll probably end up trimming that with the scissors anyway. So if your letter wasn't cut quite right, you can always adjust that, or you've got to adjust it now before your glue dries. So you've got to move your wall to fit where you want it to be. It's really important that you think about your walls being kind of straight up. Try not to have them leaning in or out. Otherwise, when you go to put your final piece on top, it's not going to quite line up, which will look a little funny. All right, so try really hard to make that match. And I am not too happy with this, so I'm going to come back and adjust it a little bit, which means I've got to pop the tape off and then reattach. Okay, and then once you have that down and you have the tape holding it in place, you could go back and add a little extra glue into your seam in here. So when we're working with clay, we actually go back and add a little coil of clay in here. but I'm gonna just add a little bit of glue. Now, the best case scenario would be to hold it for just a few minutes until your glue sets up. You could blow on it, you could do whatever you need to kind of hold it, or to make sure that you have enough tape that it really is setting in place, because once it dries, it's gonna be really stuck on there. So I suggest, if you're using the tape and glue, you do one wall at a time, make sure it's really set the way you want, and then if you're gonna continue working, maybe work on another side, because you don't want to mess with this to the point where it's shifting and then it would kind of get screwed up. So now maybe I'll go to the other side and I'll start working on a piece that's over here, which maybe is my left side, which was this side when I was looking at. Okay, and you'll keep doing that. The other way that you can do it is if you have a hot glue gun, you can use a hot glue gun. And a little trick with hot glue guns, you don't have to be near a plug. You can plug your hot glue gun in, and then you can actually work with it for quite a few minutes before the glue starts to get cold again. These are really hot, so you want to make sure you're really careful. They also sometimes drip little glue, boogers, so you want to make sure that you put something under it. And the only advantage to working with the hot glue gun is it just dries so much faster. It won't be quite as forgiving because it dries so quickly, but you can definitely work with the hot glue gun a lot quicker, and it'll be dry and done and move on. So I'll show you an example of that, and I'll put this top piece on. And so what I would do, get rid of that little glue booger, is I would, remember, you're putting your wall on top of the piece, not next to it, but on top of it, so that this next one fits. If I'm using a hot glue gun, I'm going to put a little bead of glue. See here? Squeeze it. There we go. A little bead of glue. And then you got to stick this down pretty quickly. When you go to line it up, don't burn yourself. Right? Don't burn yourself. And you can tell that's already pretty much dry. So the hot glue gun's pretty cool. You can get them for pretty cheap, $6 or so, a really tiny one. I have one at home that's really small. And you just want to make sure you pick up, if you are going to go get one, make sure you pick up enough glue sticks to last for a while. You'll run through the glue sticks faster than you think. Okay, so I'm going to put another bead of glue here. Work my way around. You want it right on the edge. So if your glue's not on the edge, that's fine. You'll just kind of wipe it around and over there. And work my way around here. See how much faster it is and easier. And my corner isn't quite lining up. So what I might do is in the process here, I can adjust. So my corner's not lining up. I could say, fine, that's fine. I'm okay with it like that. Or with a scissors or an X-Acto, you could, you might think about fixing it. So I'm going to actually put that score mark here at the corner. And I just want to right now fix it and create the corner where it's supposed to be, because it didn't quite line up. So this is my new bend and my new corner. All right, and then I can get this last little wall attached. Stick it down. See, like right there, I burnt myself a little bit. It's all right. You'll toughen up fast in this class with your fingers. Okay, and then I would do what I did on the other one. I would go back and add a bead of glue for support. I would add that bead of glue in there. Just like in your bathtub, they call it caulking, right? And you put that in there the best you can. Don't touch it, it's hot. And I probably should have done that as I was going. But. So this is the inside. No one's gonna see it. So we might as well do what we need. And then hot glue gets all these little strings, right? So you'll wanna make sure that you get rid of those little strings the best you can, and no big deal if they're on the inside. So that's 2 ways to start to build your walls, with the gluing and taping, because this is gonna take a while to dry. Or I can obviously use a hot glue gun if I have it. Those are probably your best glue bets. I don't think you should really mess with super glue or anything like that unless you feel like it dries faster and it's easier. Gorilla Glue, stuff like that, sometimes they expand and they're a little awkward. So I'm gonna finish all this up and then I'll see you once I have it all built and how we put the top on.